You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. I was in the kitchen when I saw it. A new perfume bottle on the counter. Expensive, floral, nothing like what she used to wear. Victoria never switched scents. She was one of those people who treated everything like a brand. Consistent, polished, never messy. That bottle wasn't for me. My name's Lucas Reed. I'm 43 years old. Marine vet. Gulf Coast, born and raised. I run a marine repair company in Mobile, Alabama. Reed Marine, boats, engines, full service, high-end stuff. It's taken years, but I've made it into something I'm proud of. My wife, Victoria, comes from another world entirely. Senator Richard Grayson's daughter, Ivy League, pearls at brunch, the whole nine. We've been married 14 years. People used to say we were the perfect couple, brains and brawn, beauty and grit. I believed that too, for a long time. But things started to shift a few months back. Little things, mostly. Her smile stopped reaching her eyes. Her phone never left her side. Passwords changed, new dresses, new routines, new late-night committee work. And that perfume, it was just the first crack. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. The real kicker, though, was Evan, my best friend since Camp Pendleton. We went through shit together overseas, stuff you don't talk about over beers. He was my best man at our wedding, godfather to our youngest. For 13 years, he was like a brother. Then out of nowhere, he started flaking on poker night. Wouldn't return calls, always had some excuse. One night I asked if everything was cool between us, and he laughed it off, said I was being weird. But he looked away when he said it. A few days later, I got my answer. Victoria was out back watering the garden, left her phone charging in the kitchen. It buzzed once. I wasn't going to check it, I swear I wasn't. But then it buzzed again. I glanced. Last night was worth the risk. Can't stop thinking about it. Evan, it felt like someone cracked my ribs from the inside. I stood there frozen, phone in my hand, barely breathing. My ears rang. I wanted to storm out back and scream, flip the damn table, punch a wall, but instead, I set the phone down, screen first. I walked out the front door like I forgot something. No confrontation. Not yet. If they were hiding this well, then there was more. I needed to know everything before I made my move, because something about this wasn't just personal. Evan was tied to a few contracts we were working. Victoria was suddenly talking about revising our living trust. It wasn't just betrayal, it was setup. So I started digging. I showed up in a tailored jacket, clean shave, polished boots, the full mask. Victoria liked when I looked the part. We walked into the country club like we were still a team. Everyone smiled, laughed, said how good we looked. Evan was already there, posted by the bar with a whiskey in hand and his stupid smug grin. He clapped me on the back like old times. Lucas, man, finally. Been telling these people about your operation. Top-tier stuff. Appreciate it, I said, cool and measured. I didn't let on that I knew he'd been inside my wife a week ago. Victoria floated off like a damn socialite, already locking arms with some city council guy and a power broker from Montgomery. She leaned in when she laughed, touched his arm, didn't even glance back at me. Hey, Evan said, pulling me aside toward the bar. Look, you ever think about expanding? I've got a couple guys, deep pocket types, looking to invest in marine operations. You let me loop you in, we can make real money. I sipped my drink and tilted my head like I was thinking. You talking equity or full buyout? Equity for now, but bigger picture. Franchising, branded services, maybe even government contracts. These guys aren't small time. My gut burned. Not because it was a bad deal, but because it was too good, and it was coming from the same guy texting my wife about how worth it she was. I'll think about it, I told him. He raised his glass, grinning like we were sealing something big. I excused myself after that, told them I needed to make a call, slipped down the hallway into the host's private study, locked the door behind me. The laptop was right where I remembered. I plugged in the flash drive I'd preloaded that morning, pulled up the encrypted site, and there it was. Confirmation from Carter Williams. Monday, 11 a.m. Warehouse District Office. He asked, "Come alone." I closed it fast, wiped my prints with my sleeve, and left the room like nothing happened. 2 days earlier, I didn't even know Carter existed. Now he was my only way forward. The next morning, I parked outside a cracked-up warehouse with no signs, no numbers, just a camera on the roof and a steel door. At exactly 11, it clicked open. Carter Williams wasn't what I expected. Ex-military, maybe NSA, mid-50s, lean, no small talk. He nodded for me to follow and led me into a back room stacked with old monitors and surveillance gear. I sat down, handed him a folder with everything I had, photos of the text, timeline of events, Evan's deal pitch, Victoria's change behavior. He flipped through it fast, like he'd seen worse. You know, once you open this door, you don't close it again. Surveillance changes how you see everything, and it'll change them too. I've seen war zones, I told him. I can handle this. You've seen enemies coming at you with guns. This is different. This is people smiling while they slit your throat. I didn't flinch. I need eyes on her phone. Audio, GPS, cloud sync, full package. I want to hear what she says when she thinks I'm not listening. Carter stood, walked to a locked case, and pulled out what looked like a regular charging block. Plug this in where she charges at night. It clones the device and uploads everything here. He tapped the main console. You'll have full access in 24 hours. He handed me a second device, smaller, a key fob, mic. Good for catching low-volume conversations, cars, purses, inside coats. I nodded, pocketed it. I'll pay whatever it costs. He didn't blink. You will. As I left, he called out one last thing. Be careful, Reed. This isn't about catching her cheating anymore. People with power don't play fair, and they don't lose easy. I didn't look back. I just walked to my truck, started the engine, and drove straight home like nothing was wrong. That night, Victoria fell asleep with her Kindle in hand, silk robe loose at the collar. I waited until her breathing slowed, then I moved. Quiet steps, no hesitation. I swapped out her charger with Carter's clone device in under 10 seconds, then tucked the old one into my sock drawer. No sound, no wake-up. She didn't even twitch. By the next morning, I was already receiving mirrored logs, texts, calls, app data. It wasn't hard to keep up the act. Smiles at breakfast, dad jokes for the kids, morning coffee routine. But every night, after they all went to sleep, I sat in the garage, earbuds in, listening, watching. The affair was confirmed within the first day. Evan, twice a week, hotels in downtown Mobile, sometimes his condo in Fairhope. She saved him in her phone as E-Walker. Cute. But it didn't stop at sex. They were planning, scheming. Evan was in deep, not just with Victoria, but with two of my competitors and some investors I'd never heard of. Once the transition starts, Evan said on one recording, we drop the PTSD claim, get him labeled unstable. He loses custody. That opens the door for the trust revision. Once that's in motion, Grayson moves in. I froze the first time I heard that. Rewound it 3 times just to make sure I wasn't twisting the words. But they said it, clearly. Victoria's voice came next, calm, calculated. Lucas has a temper. He won't take this well. But he's got a military history, so if we document stress behaviors, sleeplessness, paranoia, any verbal aggression, we can push that narrative. They had a file, a damn strategy guide to take me apart. They weren't just cheating, they were destroying me. Reputation, company, even my kids. A few days later, I heard something that knocked the wind out of me completely. Daddy wants a clean transition, Victoria said over speakerphone. He said Reed Marine can't tie back to his campaign at all. If Carter's involved, we're exposed. Another voice answered, gravelly and too familiar. Richard Grayson himself. Keep Carter out of it. We do this through a third party. I've got 2 offshore firms ready to acquire the assets. Once the pressure hits Reed, he'll fold. We'll buy cheap. Senator Richard Grayson, a sitting U.S. senator, coordinating with his daughter and her lover to rip my company out from under me and paint me as an unstable ex-Marine who couldn't handle life after war. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was an ambush, a full-scale takedown. And I had it all recorded. Over the next week, I played the part perfectly. School drop-offs, parent-teacher night, took the boys fishing that Saturday like nothing was wrong. Victoria smiled across the dinner table like she hadn't already decided to erase me. Every now and then, I'd ask a quiet question. You still working late Thursday? Or, Evan's coming by for the fundraiser planning. watching her eyes, listening to the lie in her voice. But I didn't push, not yet. I sat in the pain and let it work on me. Let it sharpen everything. What kept me steady was knowing I had leverage now, real evidence. Carter taught me how to store it offline, encrypted, backups in 3 places, printed transcripts in a locked gun safe under my workbench. I didn't sleep much, ate less, but I was clear, focused. I watched her laugh with the kids one morning while tying their shoes for school, and it hit me like a hammer. This woman, who kissed my forehead when I came back from war, was now building a case to say I didn't deserve to be a father. She wanted to cut me out clean. She thought I'd break quietly. Not a damn chance. I texted Carter just after midnight. Need next step. Full-scale counter. Ready to pay. He replied in less than 10 minutes. You want leverage? There's someone I can bring in. She's expensive, and she's not a damn therapist. Next afternoon, he walked her into the shop's back office, Monica Diaz. Tall, no makeup, blazer over jeans, straight to the point. Former FBI, he said. Now, freelance investigations with zero patience for bullshit. She looked me up and down like she was sizing a threat. I handed her the thumb drive and didn't say a word. Let her hear it all herself. 10 minutes in, she hit pause. Jesus Christ, this isn't just domestic. It's coordinated fraud, conspiracy, and probable election-level corruption. I need you to burn Grayson down, I said. She leaned back, crossed her arms. You realize what you're asking. You go after a sitting senator, it gets political, fast. If his people get wind of this, you're not just in danger, you're in the crosshairs. Already am, I said. They're coming after my company, my custody rights, my name. I don't care if it's political. I want him cornered. She stared at me for a long second. You want leverage, not exposure. You want him scared. Exactly. Carter stood by the door, arms folded, quiet. He knew I was past the point of no return. Monica tapped the thumb drive on the desk. You got more. I've got backups, raw audio, timeline logs, password logs, transcripts. I opened the desk drawer and dropped another envelope onto the table. Also, I'm not asking for a discount. She raised her eyebrows, then smiled, the first expression she'd shown that wasn't total stone. I'll need burner accounts, full access to anything tied to Grayson, Shell Corp, property, lobbying trails, campaign finance records. And I'll need full deniability if this goes sideways. Done. You're gonna have to let me dig into your business too. If there's anything shady in your past, I need to know before they do. Clean. I built it legit. She nodded. Then we'll play offense. First, I find out where the bodies are buried. Then we decide how loud to make the threat. Carter finally spoke. This won't be fast. You ready to act like nothing's happening for a while? I've been doing that, I said. Just tell me what you need, and I'll get it. Monica stood. Give me 72 hours. If I find something actionable, you'll be the first to know. I walked her and Carter out through the side exit. No handshakes, no goodbyes. Just a plan in motion and the cold weight of knowing the game had changed. This wasn't about watching anymore. Now it was about fighting back. The next morning, I called Jason Kim into my office before the shop opened. He ran day-to-day ops for me. Smart, loyal, sharp as hell with logistics. If there was one guy I could trust not to fold, it was him. He walked in holding a coffee and a clipboard. You good? You look like you haven't slept. I need you to listen and not ask questions I can't answer yet. That got his attention. He sat down, set the clipboard aside. I need to build a second company, quietly, under the radar. Same services, same clients, but separate name, separate structure, all offshore holding. It has to be airtight and invisible. He blinked. Okay. What the hell's going on? I can't get into it. Just know it's not illegal. It's protective. I need to shield our tech, IP, and financials before someone else tries to take control. Someone's coming for the company. Yeah, and not through a courtroom. They'll bleed us out through influence and pressure. If we don't shift the critical pieces now, we lose everything. Jason ran a hand over his face. All right. You want assets cloned or transferred? Transferred. Real accounts. I want the core platform moved. Server code, client lists, vendor contracts, all of it. Do it in pieces, quiet. Tell accounting it's a licensing restructure. Tell HR it's an audit. Nobody gets the full picture except you and me. He hesitated for the first time. Is this about Victoria? I didn't answer, just stared him down. He nodded. Got it. We got to work that day. He spun up a Nevada LLC first, then connected with one of our legal consultants to prep documents under the dummy name. I shifted my patents to a new trust. Jason began porting client databases into encrypted cloud systems with restricted access. We flagged our 5 biggest contracts for non-renewal and reissue under the new entity. The plan wasn't to run, it was to survive. By Friday, we had buffer accounts opened in 3 states and enough separation to block a hostile takeover, if we stayed ahead of them. Jason looked up from his laptop around 5 that evening. You do realize this whole thing's held together by silence and luck. It's held together by not trusting snakes, I said. Keep going. He leaned back in his chair. Just one thing, when this blows up, are we talking lawsuits or bodyguards? I smirked. Hopefully neither. That night, I got a text while reviewing payroll transfers. Unknown number, progress, need to meet. It was Monica. I deleted the text, powered off the phone, and locked the office. Monica picked the spot, a diner off I-10, middle of nowhere, where the booths were cracked, the coffee was bad, and nobody looked twice at strangers. She was already seated when I walked in. No laptop, no paper, just a black duffel bag on the floor next to her boot. I slid into the booth across from her. She didn't waste time. Grayson's dirt runs deeper than expected, she said, stirring her coffee like she hadn't just dropped a bomb. We're talking offshore accounts, backroom deals with state judges, fake charities used to funnel bribes, and all of it backed by paper trails. How much of it do you have? All of it, she said, pulling out a thumb drive. Your tax dollars at work, campaign donations tied to real estate purchases from shell companies that don't exist. Multiple counties, multiple court cases with fixed outcomes. He's been buying outcomes for over a decade. I didn't speak. I just stared at the drive. That's not even the worst part, she added. 2 nights ago, we intercepted a feed from a beach house in Gulf Shores. Grayson, Victoria, and Evan. They think they've got you boxed in. I sat back, jaw tight. Let me guess. They're planning a public fall. Worse, she said. Grayson's setting up a fabricated audit. One of your vendors, Cypress Dynamics, they're compromised. You'll get hit with a fake fraud claim, forced into court, and Evan's investors swoop in to save the company during the chaos. If you resist, they escalate. To what? To prison. She said it like a fact, not a threat, not even a warning. Just the outcome if I didn't act first. He's coordinating with a federal contact, she continued. Not confirmed yet, but it looks like someone inside the Department of Commerce is playing along. If they file charges, the custody angle gets rolled in, unstable vet, accused of financial crimes, deemed unfit. Victoria walks away with full custody, and Grayson walks away with your company. I clench my fists under the table. So, it's not just about winning, it's about erasing me. Monica nodded. Exactly. She reached down and unzipped the duffel bag. Inside was a hard case, thick and locked with a fingerprint scanner. She opened it slowly and turned it toward me. Inside were physical copies, paper trails, signed contracts, flagged emails, transfer receipts. This is the package, she said. Everything you need to take Grayson down if this goes nuclear. Use it as leverage, not as a weapon. You go public too early, and he'll bury you in noise. You wait too long, and you're screwed. I reached for the folder, but she stopped me with one look. This isn't power, Lucas. It's a fuse. Once it's lit, you don't control where the fire goes. I'm not scared of him, I said. You should be. Men like Grayson don't go down easy, and they sure as hell don't forgive. I took the folder anyway, tucked it inside my coat, and zipped it up. What now? You keep playing calm, keep letting them think they've got you cornered. I'll keep tracking movement on the federal side, but from this point forward, she leaned in slightly. We're in dangerous territory, the kind where people go missing. Understand? I nodded once. She stood and tossed a few bills on the table. Don't call me again. If I need you, I'll find you. As she walked out, I looked down at the folder inside my jacket. It didn't feel like protection. It felt like war. The day after I met Monica, Victoria came into the kitchen with a smile like nothing in the world was wrong. I was thinking we should take the boys to the beach this weekend, she said. We haven't done that in a while. I kept my tone light. Sure, That sounds good. She kissed my cheek like it was habit and walked off humming, like she hadn't been caught planning to hand my life over to a pack of wolves. We packed up early Saturday, cooler, towels, fishing nets for the boys, and drove out to Orange Beach. The weather was perfect, sky clean, breeze strong. Our boys ran straight into the surf while she laid out the towels and handed me sunscreen like we were still that couple people admired. She even reached for my hand once. I let her. The act was airtight. She laughed loud, took selfies with the kids, told a woman nearby how blessed she felt to have such a strong family. I watched her smile like a damn actress on set. Around lunch, while the boys were eating, I tested her. "You hear from Evan lately?" She didn't even blink. "Nope, not since the fundraiser meeting last week." "Why?" "Just wondering if he's still helping with that logistics proposal. I thought he'd sent me something, but maybe I imagined it." She shook her head and sipped her water. "He's probably busy with his new deal in Pensacola. You know how scattered he gets." Right to my face, smooth as glass. I almost choked on the sandwich I was pretending to eat. It wasn't just that she could lie, it was how easily she sold it, like it was a reflex. The boys finished eating and went back to building a sand fort. Victoria leaned back on the towel, sunglasses on, like she was content. Like she hadn't mapped out my downfall on a whiteboard with Evan and her father 2 nights ago. I kept it together, smiled when I needed to. Threw a football, played the role, but the whole time I could feel it, this cold, sharp pressure behind my ribs. That night, after we got the kids to bed, she changed into a navy blazer and heels, said she had a committee dinner about a wetlands bill. I didn't argue, just walked her to the door, kissed her cheek, told her to drive safe. As soon as her taillights disappeared, I opened the app. GPS ping Hotel Indigo, room 807, Evan's place. She was inside within 5 minutes. I stood there in the dark kitchen, staring at the screen, hearing her earlier voice in my head. You know how scattered he gets. Every word she said now felt like acid in my gut. I locked the phone, grabbed a drink, and sat down in silence. The morning of the announcement, I stood at the end of the dock, looking out at the shipyard I built with my bare hands. Navy reps were already on site, state officials. Press local news vans lined the gravel lot outside the gates. The new government contract was supposed to seal Reed Marine's future, the one I had no intention of letting Victoria or Evan steal. Victoria showed up in a white blazer dress, hair perfect. That politician's smile locked in place. Evan trailed a few steps behind her in a blue suit he didn't know how to wear. They were both dressed for a victory lap. Jason walked up behind me, low voice. "It's time." I nodded and followed him toward the platform. Microphones were set. The mayor was giving a speech about job growth and economic development. People clapped, cheered. Everything looked normal, but I knew what was coming. I watched Victoria whisper something to a man in a gray suit on the edge of the crowd, her attorney. I recognized him from a photo Carter sent me. Evan stood off to the side, trying to look casual, but his eyes kept cutting toward me. They were expecting to serve me right there, on my own stage, in front of city leaders, reporters, and employees, with divorce papers and accusations, knowing full well what that'd do to my reputation. I let them believe it. The mayor wrapped up and handed me the mic. "Thank you," I said. "This company started with 3 guys and a rusty trailer. Now, we're one of the top marine contractors in the state. But we didn't get here alone." I looked right at Evan. "I've had some help along the way, some of it honest, some of it not." He stiffened, fake smile frozen on his face. "And sometimes, people you trust most turn out to be the reason you almost lose everything." Whispers rippled through the crowd. I saw Victoria signal to the lawyer. He started moving toward me, envelope in hand. That's when I stepped off the stage. I walked right up to the man and handed him my own envelope, thick, sealed, marked confidential. Make sure she reads every word before she files anything. He opened it just enough to glance at the first document inside, a transcript. His eyebrows twitched. He froze. Victoria's smile faltered. "Lucas, what is this?" I turned to Evan. "Room 807, 3 nights a week, same hotel, same lie. You should have picked a different location. The audio's clearer than you think." His mouth opened, nothing came out. I didn't yell, I didn't swing, I just kept my voice calm. Attempted fraud, conspiracy, wiretaps, custody manipulation. A sitting senator on record coordinating a hostile business theft. I tilted my head. Want to keep going? Evan's face went pale. He turned toward Victoria like he expected her to say something. She didn't. I stepped in close enough for only him to hear. You've got one shot. Walk away. Leave town. Never speak to her again. Or I bury you publicly. I mean, front page bury you. His jaw clenched. He backed away slow, looked at Victoria, then walked toward the parking lot without another word. I turned to her next. She didn't move. Couldn't. You thought I was blind, I said. You thought I'd fall apart while you rewrote the story. But I'm still standing. And now I've got the pen. People were staring, confused, quiet. No one knew exactly what was happening, but they felt it. Something had cracked in the middle of that celebration. Victoria blinked, her whole face different now. Not angry, not sad. Just exposed. She didn't say a word. I handed the mic to the nearest staffer and walked straight back into the shop. It was almost midnight when the knock came. I was in the living room, lights low, glass of whiskey in my hand, door unlocked because I was expecting him. Senator Richard Grayson didn't knock like a man asking permission. 3 firm hits, controlled, arrogant, practiced. I opened the door, and there he was. Black coat, black eyes, not a single wrinkle out of place. May I come in? He said. You're already here. Might as well step inside. He walked past me like he owned the house, scanning the place like it offended him. He didn't sit. Victoria's upset, he said. She'll get over it. He turned, hands folded in front of him. I think we both know this situation's gotten out of hand. Whatever miscommunication took place, I'm sure we can resolve it quietly. No miscommunication, I said. You plotted to ruin me. I just beat you to the punch. He gave a slight smile. Lucas, you're a military man, strategic. I respect that. But dragging my daughter and Evan through this, especially with such wild accusations, puts you in a dangerous position. I stepped closer. Everything I've got is real. Audio, contracts, GPS logs, bank transfers. You want to push? I'll light it all up. His smile disappeared. What do you want? Custody, full, no conditions. I keep the house, the company, the name. Victoria walks with what's left of her dignity and never circles back. He stayed quiet. Then, you understand what you're doing, right? Walking away from a clean settlement, choosing war over cooperation. You don't scare me, Senator. He looked around the room again, then took a slow step toward me. How much? That stopped me. What? I said how much. What do you want in cash, assets, whatever it takes, to hand over those files and let this die? I laughed once. You think this is about money? He didn't flinch. Everything's about money. Not this time. You dragged your daughter into a conspiracy and tried to make me the fall guy. I'm not selling my life back to you. He clenched his jaw. You've got no idea what happens if this reaches the wrong ears. There are people who'd burn you alive before letting this leak. I've got backups, multiple, every file, every tape. You come at me again, or anything happens to me or my kids, it all goes public. You won't be dealing with just me then. You'll be answering to federal investigators and every media outlet that's ever hated your guts. He stared at me a long time. Then finally, he exhaled. Fine, he said. You get what you want. Full custody. You keep the company. Victoria leaves town. I'll deal with her. You try to take anything else from me, even an inch, and I finish the job, I said. All of it. Names, accounts, everything. Don't test me. He gave a short nod, tight and bitter. I hope for your sake you're as smart as you think you are. I hope for your sake you believe I am. He turned, walked to the door, paused with his hand on the knob. You're not the only one who knows how to play long games. Neither was Nixon. Look how that turned out. He left without another word. I locked the door behind him. 2 days later, Victoria signed over full custody without a word. No court hearing, no drawn-out fight. Just a signature, a silent nod, and a one-way flight to Atlanta. She took the settlement Grayson arranged, clean, cold money, and left our boys behind like she was checking out of a hotel. I didn't try to stop her. They'd already seen enough. Evan vanished even faster. One day he was still listed on contracts. Next day he was scrubbed from everything. Word was he took a job overseas. Or maybe Grayson sent him somewhere to rot. Either way, he was gone. The contract we were supposed to land got delayed and eventually dissolved. Grayson couldn't afford my name tied to federal funding anymore. Didn't matter. I'd already transferred the company's core into the new entity. Reed Marine stayed afloat, leaner, tighter, and fully under my control. The boys had a rough first few months. Sleep trouble, school dip, trust issues. I took time off, scaled back the shop, drove them to school myself every day. No nannies, no fake family outings, just real time, real talk. One night, my youngest asked, "Is Mom ever coming back?" I looked him straight in the eyes and said, "Not if I can help it." He nodded like he understood more than he should have. Monica checked in once, about 6 months after it all dropped. She met me at the dock, leaned on the railing, arms crossed. "You handled it cleaner than I expected," she said. "Most guys in your spot would have gone full scorched earth." I shrugged. "Fire's not my style. I just wanted them out." She smiled once. "Well, they're out. Keep your files locked, just in case." Then she was gone. 3 years later, we expanded, picked up new government work through the new LLC, under a clean name. The boys were doing better. Baseball, math club, normal stuff. I kept the house, built a new dock, took them fishing every weekend. The folder stayed sealed in the safe. Backups still existed. I never touched them. Never had to. People still ask if I miss her. The truth. I miss who I thought she was. Not the woman she turned out to be. But I protected what mattered. My kids, my company, my damn sanity. And that's more than most men in my shoes ever get.